Two students were arrested for a threat at a high school in Commerce City that left students, staff, and families panicked for hours today. And a major break in the case of Jax Graten, whose disappearance and death led to months of questions. Tonight, her mother reacts to an indictment connected to her case. We'll get to both of those stories in just a moment, but first, dry conditions and strong winds. That adds up to critical fire weather beginning tomorrow morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kim Christensen.
And I'm Kyle Clark. So tomorrow could be dicey. While there are no planned power shutoffs for XL customers, the strong winds could obviously still cause outages. That's why the Boulder Valley School District is going to preemptively shut some schools tomorrow. Netherland Elementary, Netherland Middle Senior High, Gold Hill Elementary, and Jamestown Elementary will all be closed.
And with the elevated potential for wildfires, Jefferson County officials say they'll also be monitoring the situation from their Emergency Operations Center. They say 90% of the county has a potential to see peak wind gusts of 60 miles per hour. So let's begin tonight with 9 News Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin and your forecast.
Yeah, we are concerned about tomorrow, but also Friday and Saturday ahead of a weekend storm that may bring some relief. It looks as though the worst of the wind will be tomorrow, with a critical fire weather condition shaping up for temperatures back in the 70s, winds to 70 miles per hour, and certainly dry conditions at the surface. We have temperatures at 43 in downtown Denver now, 36 out at DIA. Not a lot of wind tonight, but the wind will be ramping up along the foothills overnight tonight, with some of those gusts around Allens Park up toward Estes Park, Red Feather Lakes, and the 70 to 80 mile per hour gust line, and that's coming in out of the west. And then we will have some wind in the forecast for Friday and Saturday. So red flag warnings cover most of eastern Colorado, also the Denver metro area all day tomorrow, may be extended into Friday and Saturday. High wind watch for the western suburbs of Denver, Jefferson County, and Douglas County for gusts to about 60, but you get into the warning zone and we have gusts to about 90. Not sustained winds, but periodic gusts. So that can take a trampoline, a picnic table, it can take trees down and power lines down. And high profile vehicles are already on alert, headed northbound out of Colorado into Wyoming. We're in between two storms. High pressure's coming in from the west, low pressure to the north and east. That gradient tightens. So enjoy a relatively calm overnight, because things are going to start to really kind of get going tomorrow. Critical fire for the next 72 hours. We'll be talking about that fire danger. But there's also a Sunday storm, mountain snow, and metro rain. That's in the forecast. I'll have details.
Commerce City police say they believe that two students are responsible for the bomb threat and the active shooter 911 call that came out of Adams City High School today.
Officers say they found the pair covered in what looked like fake blood and arrested them. 9 News anchor Phil Lipoff is here with more on the very real terror for students, staff, and families today.
Kim, first responders from 7 departments, the FBI, ATF, all rushed to Adams City High School around 1 o'clock this afternoon after someone called 911 to make a bomb threat and to say that that school was an active shooting scene. That was a horrifying and all too familiar call these days. The school immediately placed on lockdown, and we are told hundreds of law enforcement officers entered the school, going room to room, clearing the building, believing that there may have been an active shooter roaming the halls and multiple victims down. They even found what appeared to be blood trails in several areas of the school. After a lengthy search, officers determined there were no victims. There was no credible threat. That did little, though, to calm the fears, as you would imagine, of terrified students, teachers, and of course parents, some of whom had gathered outside of the school hoping to find their kids.
It's scary. It's the first time I've had to deal with this.
Look, they got him.
And it makes it a worry to send her back to school tomorrow.
Yeah, you can hear the fear in her voice. The students, both minors, have been charged with, among other things, the felony of reporting a false bomb and active shooter threat. Police say the same blood substance officers found in that school they found on the students who were interviewed and then, of course, arrested. Commerce City Police Chief said in a statement to 9 News, and we'll quote it for you, "The notion that this call may have been part of a prank is highly disturbing and pulled valuable law enforcement resources away from real emergencies in the Denver metro." Guys.
Bill, thank you. A grand jury has indicted a man on charges related to the disappearance and death of Jax Gratton.
New tonight, Jax's mom is opening up about the major break in the case. 9 News reporter Spencer Soischer joins us after talking with her tonight.
Yeah, I talked to Jax's mom a few hours ago after the Jeffco DA announced Brandon Mumma was indicted on charges of tampering with a body and evidence. He was arrested in Summit County. The indictment says Graten and Mumma were in a relationship. It says Mumma left Jax alone and asleep under the influence of drugs inside an office building on West Colfax last April. Now, then Jax vanished, leading to questions about what happened to her. Police ultimately found her body weeks later in Lakewood in a narrow 4-foot space not accessible to the public between two buildings. The indictment accuses Mumma of moving her body, her phone, and other personal things to try to hide evidence. In an interview with us tonight from her home in Montana, Jax's mom told us she's thrilled with the indictment and said she wanted to see charges related to Jax's death, and she suspected the man indicted was involved. She's filled with joy, and it's not just for her family.
Ecstatic. I bawled like a baby. I had to apologize because I lost all emotion. It came sideswiped. I wanted transgender women to feel safe. I have been worried somebody was going to die besides my daughter.
Mumma is being held in the Jefferson County Jail on a $100,000 bond. Jax's mom says however long he's held, as a night she'll sleep easier. Spencer Soysher, 9 News.
A devastating situation in Centennial. An 11-year-old boy faces a first-degree murder charge connected to the death of his 5-year-old brother. The Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office says the boy was killed last night at home on South Jericho Way near South Himalaya Street and East Smoky Hill Road. Investigators have not said how the child died or released any of the boys' names. But a neighbor told us he often saw the brothers playing outside together and fondly remembers the younger boy knocking on his door to say hi and ask for snacks.
I miss him a lot because we got so used to seeing him around. And it's going to take a long time for us to get used to the idea that something like this happened right down on our street. And especially to such a sweet little kid.
The boy was a kindergartner at Timberline Elementary. In a letter sent to families today, the principal said additional mental health staff will be available for students and teachers as they process the loss.
All 66 Democratic state legislators are urging Democratic Governor Jared Polis to deny clemency to Tina Peters. Now, there is no indication that Polis cares what they think. In fact, last week he directly told Next he doesn't care what they're saying. The former Republican Mesa County clerk, Peters, is serving a 9-year sentence for her role in allowing unauthorized access to her county's election equipment. It was a failed attempt to prove President Trump's false claims of election rigging. Peters' case is currently before the Colorado Court of Appeals, which heard arguments in January. As of today, the court hasn't issued a ruling. According to some Democrats in the state legislature, the governor's staff told them that the governor is waiting for the court to act first. A spokesperson for the governor's office would not confirm that. Peters has been staunchly defiant for years, in court and in person, saying she did nothing wrong and that she is a political prisoner. The governor told me last week that Peters must show contrition and apology to get clemency. And shortly after Polis's comments, Peters' attorney says she now has remorse.
Denver is ditching its controversial flock surveillance cameras. The city plans to replace them with ones made by Axon. Now, getting rid of the flock cameras is easier said than done. Complicating the issue is the fact that flock cameras are flock property, not the city, despite being on city poles and signals. Some city council members say they want to put a hood or a cap over the cameras, adding it's important that flock actually removes the cameras instead of just turning them off.
It's pretty clear that they're being monitored. So, they weren't responding to requests from the Varno Police Department, but as soon as they were covered and they weren't working, then Flock came and took them down.
So you think that they were still up and running at the time?
Oh, they absolutely were.
Flock screen says decom, gives me no confidence at all.
And we need a timeline for removal, potentially hoods on those cameras the minute that contract ends.
In Verona, Wisconsin, their mayor says Flock didn't start removing the cameras until they were covered up with trash bags and black tape by police.
Over the holidays, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I'm gonna be just fine, everybody.
The mayor of Arvada is opening up about her cancer diagnosis. Lauren Simpson made it public at last night's city council meeting.
Thankfully, doctors caught it early. That made all the difference, and now she's encouraging other women to get screened. The 42-year-old is busy. She's a wife, she's a mom. When she's not working as mayor, she's serving as executive director at a cat clinic. Even so, she followed guidelines, taking the time to get her first mammogram in October of 2024. They spotted something. A year later, it was ruled benign. 2 weeks later, she got a text saying she was due for another screening. She almost didn't go, but decided to go anyway. And that's a good thing, because that's when the cancer was discovered.
Because we found this so early, it is highly likely I won't have to do a much more aggressive treatment. When we think of cancer, we think of chemotherapy patients and the hell that those souls have to go through. I really hope I'm not going to have to be one. And I think the odds are good that I'm not going to have to be one because we caught it early.
Simpson will undergo surgery on Monday. She hopes to be back at work by April 7th, and she will continue to encourage women, especially young women, to get screened.